Maria and
Gina
with Reflect and Reset with your favorite two ladies, right? Maria and Gina. So thank you so much for joining us again. And Gina, our show, it's really, I said it before, it's getting traction. Last show with Franco, I had 1,700 or more.
So I think it's up to 18 now.
It's so we are very, very happy that you're liking our shows, that you like the information that we're giving you, that you're finding it that is valuable to you and your family. And as always, we have very special guests for you, and Gina's going to make the usual introduction.
Yeah, so you've seen this guy before. This is
Yes.
David Lee, and David is actually our trainer.
We are blessed.
Yes. See, I started working out, and I think, it was 8 or 9 times already?
Yeah.
And loving it, and I hate working out, but I really love working out with you, David. David also gives us lots of tips on nutrition, because David has a nutrition background. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about a little bit today about how to lose weight the right way, how to stay on those diets. Those bad diets don't work. And then what else you need to really incorporate in that diet: exercise, and sometimes, like we were talking, sometimes it's psychological help for people that are eating a little bit, too much. So David, I know that they already know you, but
people know, and actually, I want to say thank you to David, because many of you people, I know the followers are seeing the videos, your videos, my videos, and believe it or not, those videos are made by David.
Yes.
So he does an amazing job, and the support that he's giving us is so valuable. We highly recommend him. I mean, we're a little biased here, but we really believe in the work that he does. And like you were saying, Gina, what I love about David is not that he's just training us, but he's guiding us when it comes to nutrition. For weeks, I had to take pictures of my food, and I had to send it to him. And then what I realized is taking pictures of my food, how bad I was eating. I was like,
made you accountable, didn't it?
I know. I was afraid to take those pictures, but data and information is important, and this is what we get with David. And he also acts as our therapist.
Yeah.
Because depending how we feel, he actually modifies the workout. But the results that he's getting, that we're getting from him, it's amazing.
Yeah,
so
I feel great.
Thank you, David. We love working with you.
Mm-hmm.
2 favorite ladies. I'm hoping to be one of the semi-favorite guys of the show. I know. Thanks for inviting me back. How do I follow up to that? You two are amazing, so encouraging and empowering, inspirational.
Well, so are you. That's how we feel.
Well, thank you. Just as a quick background, I think it would be beneficial for your viewers to know there is a difference between a nutritionist and a dietitian, right? Because I'm a registered dietitian, which means that I needed to have gone through an accredited 4-year program for nutrition, and then have gone through an internship. 900. It depends, depending on what internship you go through. It could range between 900 to 1,200 hour internship, and then after the internship, you sit for a licensure exam, similar to a doctor would sit for their exam for their boards. And then after that, my role as a dietitian is protected. So a dietitian is able to work with the whole gamut of, and the whole spectrum of medical conditions, whereas a nutritionist who isn't licensed might not be legally allowed to work with somebody with a heart condition who might be on a medication, something as simple as Synthroid. Right, which is a very common medication that people
what I'm on.
Right. So a nutritionist, even though they might have the requisite knowledge, there are a lot of very intelligent, knowledgeable nutritionists out there. If they don't have that credential, then they might not be legally protected. And so
makes sense.
Yes, that's the difference. I know you used to work with a dietitian very closely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's so my personal trainer, dietitian.
It's a very unique combination. I mean, I don't know many dietitians that are also trainers. So do you? I mean, I don't know many.
I became a personal trainer first, and I thought if I became a dietitian, I would be able to be more of a one-stop shop for my clients. And then at one point, I considered going into either massage therapy or chiropractic to do the manual stuff for my clients, to be licensed.
Which he does with us when my muscles are so tight. Oh my God. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had a knot here, and I didn't realize it. My knee was hurting, and he's like, well, if it's hurting you this on the side, then you have a knot here, and then he takes that
22-pound
22-pound
I have
roller.
a 44 pounder too. I haven't whipped out yet. Just
Thank
wait.
God.
He wants to get even heavier one. I'm like, not on me.
I
buddy.
can't wait. Wait till you get more muscle, then I'll be able to use it. we don't want your bones to get crushed.
Yeah.
But the knowledge of, that's something that I love, the knowledge
Yeah.
of the body, the way that you understand the body, and the nutrition piece. Man,
And,
I mean,
but when he did it, it helped the knee.
yes,
The knee was fine.
absolutely.
Oh, okay. You need to stop complimenting me. Otherwise, I won't be able to walk out the door because my head's getting so big. Now, why do you think I cut my hair?
Just for the show.
Because my hair was getting too big.
I love it, but we'll get serious here. Let's, there was a video that you did, and I actually called David and I said, I really want you to talk about what you discussed in that video, because I thought it was so important. It was so well put together of how you were talking about the way to lose weight. And I don't, we want you to tell us.
Man, I wish I knew what I said. A lot of these, there's an 8-minute video, and I was just talking off the cuff.
Yeah.
Whatever was popping into my mind. Of course, a lot of the things I talk about are inspired by the questions my clients ask me, and it was inspired by a question that a previous client had asked me that day. And the video was about how long should you be in certain phases of dieting, whether it's fat loss or maintenance or muscle gain. And I think a lot of people are interested in losing weight. Well, the first thing that we should differentiate is there's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. Because you can lose fat and still stay the same weight over the course of time. You can lose weight and the number on the scale drops. But then you want to try to figure out what type of weight am I losing?
Right.
Because you can also be losing muscle weight. I mean, you can lose a combination of muscle, fat, and water weight. So then, once we identify what type of weight somebody wants to lose and how we want their body to look and how we want them to feel, most importantly, right, the whole psychology aspect of it, then we try to figure out how strict do we need to be. Then the level of strictness will determine how long you need to be in a certain phase. If we take the example of somebody who wants to lose fat, if they're going to be 100% strict, which is very difficult, that means no cheating, no drinking, no nothing. You're cooking everything at home, you know exactly what's going into your mouth. No longer than 4 months, you're on that phase. Maybe a little bit less strict, 80 to 90%. Maybe you can be in a certain phase for up to 6 months where you're consistently losing weight. And the reason you want to do these phases is because your body has this process called adaptive thermogenesis. And that's basically a process in which the body modifies and alters the amount of calories it burns at rest based on how many calories are coming in and leaving during the course of the day. If you burn more calories through exercise, your body's going to detect that calorie expenditure and think, oh, I need to save my calories because if I lose too many calories, I'm probably going to shrivel up and die. Because your body can't really predict things into the future that well. So then what's going to happen is, unconsciously, you may, without noticing it, slow down the level of activity. You might get a little bit more lazy, you might lose motivation, you might not work out as hard, energy might be lower, your sleep might suffer. Those are all some of the more drastic consequences of adaptive thermogenesis. And those usually don't happen to people until about the 3-4 month mark if they're going at it hardcore. But then, people like you, Maria, like you and Gina, if you decide that you're going to go out on a weekend and have a drink, have a good night, go eat some dinner, not really track food that much, you might still send me the pictures, but I'm not going to say, oh, you should eat this, this, and this. Don't do the oil, things like that. Maybe you can extend that phase for 6 months while you're still consistently losing weight. Now, if somebody isn't losing weight, and that means that their adherence level is probably less than 80%, which means that they're just, they're just normal. They really probably don't have to take breaks and phases, because if you're not losing weight, then the body might not see it as a stress.
Wow.
Right? Because the body sees losing weight and gaining weight as a stress. When you're maintaining your body weight, that's called homeostasis. Your body doesn't see that as much of a stress, very minimal stress, which means that it's comfortable there.
But if it's not comfortable, then your body, so you could be uncomfortable, but your body could be comfortable with the weight.
Yes.
Is that, Does that make sense?
That's called set point theory. And there's a lot of debate regarding set point theory. Set point theory is basically, it's essentially a theory that states your body is more comfortable at a certain weight, even if psychologically you're not.
And that's true, because I lost, when I went gluten-free, I went down to under 120 pounds. I hadn't been up under 120 pounds and I don't know how long.
Right.
So I was like 117. But now, and I'll share to the world, I'm sitting at like 125. But that's where I always sit.
Right.
Like that's really where, but yet I'm working out hard and the scale's not going down, but my body's looking better. You know, I'm starting to see the difference.
Right. And in your case, losing weight might not be so great.
Right.
Because we want to build muscle and strength for you.
Exactly. So
She's lifting weights.
I am.
She's lifting
I
weights.
am lifting weights.
Very impressive,
I'm doing
too.
good, and he keeps saying I'm doing much better.
Yeah, sometimes
I look at him and say, how much is that? How much? What are you bringing me? He goes, we're going up. I said, no, how much is that?
And sometimes I just conveniently and coincidentally get early onset dementia, forget what weight she did before, and she just goes up heavier.
See?
Because the only direction is up.
Yeah, it's
Perception.
It's fun. It's fun.
But a lot of people get stuck
Yeah.
in at the wrong weight,
You
right?
get comfortable.
One thing I want to mention is this adaptive thermogenesis phenomenon. There are only two big reasons why people, barring medical condition, there are only two big reasons why people fail to lose weight on a short-term basis or long-term basis. Number one is adherence. Many people, like a lot of my clients, or a lot of people I work with, or people who could struggle to see the results that they want, I'll give them a simple request. Hey, send me pictures of your food. And most people won't. That's a very simple request. I understand people get busy, but if you want to lose weight, and somebody's asking you, just snap a picture of your food and send it to me. That's all you have to do. And if it's that difficult, then we can assume that
You're not eating right.
you're not eating right, or there are other, then it's going to be difficult to do even more complex activities, more complicated tasks that are going to be necessary for somebody to lose weight, right? You've got to start simple and build on top of that. So adherence is the first one. That's the big one, right? Because a lot of people underestimate what they eat.
It's mindset.
Yeah, mindset. And the second one is this adaptive thermogenesis. And this adaptive thermogenesis usually applies to people who have a history of dieting and exercise, which can also explain how people lose less weight with each subsequent attempt at a diet. You know how some people, they might do a diet, they'll lose 50 pounds, and then they'll gain it back, and then they try the same diet again, they might lose 30 pounds, and then if you try it again, they lose 20 pounds and 10 pounds. Because the body will adaptive thermogenesis. Your body can remember those types of things.
Yeah.
So adaptive thermogenesis, and it's kind of like it's a catch-22, right? Once you lose that weight, you have to try to at least maintain a big portion of that weight loss. Otherwise, chances are higher that if you regain that weight, you're probably not going to lose that amount of weight again.
Wow.
It's really, so it's a catch-22.
I heard statistics. I think it was more than 50% of the women, when they have babies, they keep their baby weight. Is that? I mean, to me, that's a lot. And if you see it actually.
You gain also with the baby because it's a license to eat for a lot of women.
Yeah.
Which is not the case, but
Yeah.
And also just that huge change in deviation in hormones.
hormones, right? I was gonna say that.
Can alter the way women store nutrients, store fat, things like that. And I've worked with many women postpartum, and a lot of them have a difficult time getting back to the weight they originally were. And even if they did, for example, my wife, before she became pregnant with our first kid in 2017, she was 5'8", and she was 145 pounds. And she was about, I would say, 15% body fat. Ripped six-pack, back shredded like a map. She gained all that, she gained the weight, and then eventually she got back down to like 135, but she looks different. She looked different now at 135 than she did before the baby weight. So the body will distribute the weight a little bit differently too.
So it's in different areas.
And it could be in different areas.
Because of the hormones, how it goes, the body goes crazy.
Right, that's explainable to menopause too. Most women who go through menopause, their body will store in different areas of their body, or their body will store energy in different areas of their body.
Bellies.
Yeah, so diets, people say, do diets work? I mean, have you heard of a diet that actually works for the long term?
I want to address something really quickly in this. It's this word diet. A lot
Yeah.
of people attach a negative connotation to the word diet, but diet is actually just a way of eating. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to lose weight on this particular diet. It's
Right.
just a way of eating. It's a style of eating. I think diets work. I think anything can work, right? But I think it all depends on what you want it to work for. If you want to lose weight, a cleanse will work, a detox will work, a liquid diet will work if you want to lose weight. If you want to be healthy long term, improve your athletic performance, build muscle, all those goals, then you have to make sure that you're choosing the appropriate diet for those things. Then you want to understand, well, is this diet going to work for me long term? I mean, there are a lot of different things that go into it, and I think when we really get down to the brass tacks, we try to identify short-term goals and long-term goals. And I think if we identify short-term goals and figure out a way of eating that is aligned to your short-term goal, and then eventually learn how to titrate that diet and slowly modify it so it gets more aligned with a long-term goal after you meet your short-term goal, then that's how people can optimize their life rather than going from one diet to the next. I think that's the problem. I don't think it's the diet per se. I think it's the approach, the approach that.
So what
people
about
have.
something like you think about something drastic? Like, I don't know if I believe in keto
Mhm.
because you can't stay on that. You can't. I don't think someone can eat like that. You know, with the fats that they're taking in, and you know, and then do you like the keto diet?
I understand your concern. I know a lot of people who've been on keto for years. I personally never did full-blown keto. I did what's called cyclical ketogenic diet, CKD, which basically means that there's an induction phase where for 10 days you're very low carbohydrate. So you want low carbohydrate might be 20 grams of carbohydrates or lower for 10 days. And you, what's called fat adapt your body. Your body's burning ketones. And then 1 day per week, one day per week you completely drop the fat as much as you can and go high carb. The idea behind that is because your body is so used to burning ketones, which are byproducts of carbohydrate metabolism, your body doesn't know what to do with that excess carbohydrate, so it's going to burn it rather than store it.
Yeah.
If somebody's on a cyclical ketogenic diet, most people who are on CKDs, when they introduce that big influx of carbohydrates, their body temperature is going to shoot through the roof because their body's burning off all those carbohydrates.
Wow.
So,
Wow,
I've never heard of that.
Yep.
I didn't either.
So it's
How did it work? I mean, but you don't have to lose weight.
I don't have to lose weight. For me, when I was training, I wanted to be as strong as possible, pound for pound. When I was competing in powerlifting, I competed at the 148 class, no drugs, no nothing. I back squatted at 148 pounds, 425 pounds. I bench pressed 260, and I deadlifted 465 in competition with judges watching me. In training, I deadlifted 500. So I wanted to be as strong, and also I also wanted to preserve as much athleticism as possible. So in the midst of doing all those lifts, I had a 36-inch vertical jump. I was able to do single arm handstand holds. I was able to do 10 single arm push-ups. I was able to do a single arm pull-up. I wanted to preserve all of those things. So I didn't want to gain too much muscle because, for me, in my experience, I know that if I gain too much muscle, I would lose flexibility because I'm short. I have short limbs. I'm 5'7". If I gain even at 160, if I was 160 pounds, I just looked a little bit too bulky. I looked a little bit too blocky.
So were you on the keto
I was on a cyclical ketogenic diet for about 6 months.
when you were training like that?
When I was training like that for about 6 months. And I got with that and a combination of other things, in my 2013 competition, I was able to get down to like 8% body fat.
Oh wow. Wow.
So I did that, and then eventually I went to an intermittent fast, and then I started introducing carbohydrate more, which brings us back to our previous point about can diets work. I was on a cyclical ketogenic diet, which for all intents and purposes is an extreme diet because for a good portion of the week, you're abolishing carbohydrates, a nutrient food group, right? So what I did was I started strategically having carbohydrate days, only on my training days. So I would only add carbohydrates on the meals after my training sessions. So if I trained 4 days per week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I would only have carbohydrates after training. And then eventually, after I maintained that for about a couple of weeks, then I would start having carbohydrates in my meal before my training. So I slowly introduced carbohydrates. And I think that's the way to do it for long-term performance. Once you meet a short-term goal with an extreme diet, then you start introducing and strategically going towards more of a sustainable diet until you can get your body to normalize it. I think it's the approach. I think it's just that those drastic approaches where people don't really know how to transition from diet to diet is what really screws them up.
Are you monitoring your diet now that you're going to be eating?
So right now, I actually said today, I was eating some potato chips, and I said, well, I'm going to enjoy these because there's going to come a point where I'm going to have to really watch what I'm eating as I'm cutting more and more. And we talk about that. I mean, I became a pescatarian, and eventually I'm leaning towards becoming a full vegetarian.
Oh God.
They call them vegan. Is it vegan?
No.
Well, the vegan is no animal products.
Yeah.
Right. So I might. I don't know. I actually was saying, you know what? It's like I like to eat, but I need food to fuel my body. Like I don't obsess over food. Like to me is I know I have to eat because otherwise I don't have the energy. So if I order, and we were talking about this, there is a website where you can order lunch. We talked about it.
Right.
Yeah, so you can order breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And depending on what you want to accomplish, if you're a vegetarian or
gluten-free, they have everything. Yeah.
They have everything. So I'm thinking of doing that and ordering my food. The challenge is when you go out, when you go to restaurants. But David put together a protein shake that is vegan, and I happen to like it because it doesn't make me feel bloated.
Right.
The biggest challenge I had when I was training before in doing lifting, it was that I felt bloated with the shakes. But this shake that he put together.
Same one you gave me, I'm sure.
Yes.
But I didn't even open it.
I gave it to you 3 weeks ago.
I'll take it.
Actually, I want you to. I don't think I'm going to like it. I want you to order me chocolate instead.
Okay.
What do you have?
Why don't we?
I had like toasted coconut or something.
Why don't you
bring
do
it to me?
Why don't you do a sweepstake? Why don't you give it away to a random viewer or something?
Yeah, if you want the protein shake.
Now they're like, oh yeah, bring them on the show more often.
You have to come and try one training session with Dave.
Yes.
And then and he'll give you a bag.
I hope we only get 2 views on here.
No, but so David and I are going to, as I get closer to the competition, we don't know yet.
Oh,
so I'm
sometime in the summer.
Sometime in the summer. So we're going to start looking. Right now, we're just focused on getting this body cut.
It looks good. I'm not there yet. So I'll be there soon.
Yes. I've been, like you said, I had a stronger foundation because I've been lifting for a long, long time. So now it's just David is taking me to another level.
Yeah.
And it's, and he talks about it, how my body, I'm amazed how my body is reacting. It's crazy. So I am not watching a lot of what I eat. But I'm not a terrible eater. I've never been.
No, you're just a big eater.
I just
She likes food. She likes food.
1 or 2 times, big portion.
Yeah, big portion.
Which doesn't work for everybody, but it does work for me.
And I think that can tie into the psychology piece. Some people live to eat, and some people eat to live.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Gina, you might be a person you eat to live.
I eat to live. I'm not a big eater.
Yeah. And then you might be a person, you might be a little bit in between.
In between.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know some people just live to eat. I have a couple of clients. They're stubborn in the fact that they think going out to eat every weekend, enjoying a drink with their friends and things like that, is them living life. And I'm not saying that as a form of judgment or criticism. It's just a mindset. It's a mindset. Clearly, after talking with this client, she isn't as dedicated to her goal as somebody who wants to do a competition would be.
Right.
And I think that's really important in setting out, putting it on the table.
She doesn't want to do a competition.
She doesn't want to do a competition. She looks great. She's strong. She's a girl. She can deadlift 225 pounds. She can do 3 chin-ups on her own, and all these things. She has great conditioning. She has great work ethic, and she has nice curves, and she's lean. But she doesn't want to go to the next level because in order for her to get to the next level, because of where she currently is, she would need to be more strict.
Yeah. Like we were joking, what are we giving up for Lent? And I was saying.
Hope you didn't say me.
Never.
I'd be a pleasure to get
But I was saying, alcohol. I've pretty much, when I ran the marathon, gave up on alcohol, and then now I'm lifting. So I work out with you 4 days a week, and I don't want to drink before I see you because it affects you the next day. So anyway, I'm giving up my telephone when I'm with my daughter.
It's not alcohol. Thank God, because I need her to drink with me once in a while.
You need a good quality tequila, that's what you need.
Yeah, Gina can introduce me to that. So anyway, I'm being told that we're over the time. We're having too much fun here.
30 minutes? Are you kidding me?
It went by.
Gosh, man.
But guess what? David is coming with us every month, and we're going to have different discussion on nutrition.
Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah, if there's any topic, let us know. So we want to say thank you. Thank you, David, again for your support. And thank you all for your support, for liking us. And make sure that if you do like us, comment and please
like us on Facebook.
Like us on Facebook, all social media. Take care.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye-bye.